Since it just came out, I'm going to give some quick unscripted thoughts on Not a Hero, the Resident Evil 7 DLC. Now, before getting into that, I'll just kind of give a quick once-over of my thoughts on Resident Evil in general, and Resident Evil 7 in particular. Let's just start with the former. Resident Evil, big fan of the series since I was, I think, 11 when I first played the remake. Love the series, love Resident Evil. I've played pretty much every game in the series. I don't think I played Gun Survivor, but yeah, there's a couple I haven't, but overall, love these games to bits. Resident Evil 7, I enjoyed it. I think it gets way too much praise from certain members of the community. I mean, you get videos from like one guy who calls it secretly genius, why Resident Evil 7 blew my mind. You get all this kind of stuff. I don't think it's quite as good as people make it out to be. It's flawed. It definitely drops the ball in the last section of the game where it just becomes a shooting gallery. But you could pull out that criticism to a lot of Resident Evil games. And I don't know. I enjoy 7 a lot. So yeah, I was looking forward to Not a Hero. Let's just start off with the good thing. It's free. Not a Hero is 100% free with your purchase of the game. It's incredibly short. It's only about an hour long. It took me like hour 20, and that was me pissing around just trying to find all the little goodies. But, you know, it's structured pretty well, and, you know, you can't argue with the price point on that. I don't know, like, I don't mind that it's free, but there is a con that comes with that, and we'll get to it later. But, the structure. I enjoy the structure because it's centered around these 3 rooms in the center of a larger room, and you have to go to 2 of them by getting upgrades for your gas mask. It's pretty interesting. It's not Metroid per se, but there's more running back and forth than I kind of expected, honestly. It was something that I appreciated. I appreciated that they have the kind of the end objective is right in front of you from moment 1. That's kind of neat. I've always really liked that in games, especially looping designs. It's nothing fantastic. I mean, because I think there's only 2 real upgrades you need to progress. The filter for your gas mask and the night vision goggles, but hey, you know what? It's fine. Game's got the RE 4 and 5 melee system. That's really funny to see in first person, and I don't know if that's intentional, because, you know, you can stagger an enemy, and you just go up to it, press the attack button, and bam, just attack. I don't know if it's intentional when you see Chris Redfield just punch a monster and just fucking explode. Like, it's a flat-out glory kill at this point, but I don't know, it's pretty goofy. It's a fun little mechanic that separates Chris from Ethan because they kind of play a little too similar, maybe. Maybe what I would have done is buff Chris's movement speed, make him a little faster, because, you know, he's not shitty Mr. Winters. You know what? It's strange to say. Even if I've never been that fond of his character until the boulder punching joke, it's fun to play as Chris Redfield again. One of the complaints for Resident Evil 7 was that it really didn't have that much to do with Resident Evil in general, and we'll get to that a little later. But it's enjoyable because I kind of like how he's just Dudley Do-Right with a gun. He's kind of a meathead. He's not good at keeping his teammates alive. He can shoot the monster and kill it, but you know. It's about all Chris is good for. I like that. And, you know, the punches kind of add to the roid rage jokes that have been going on Chris Redfield ever since RE V, so, maybe you can make some gags out of it. I don't fucking know. And I appreciate how, while it is much more action-paced than RE7, the vanilla game, it's very slow in comparison to a lot of action games. Now, this is something that I do appreciate in a lot of first-person shooters that try to be, you know, combat-focused, but still slow combat. You know, a terrible comparison to make because they're nothing alike. It reminds me a little bit of why I like the combat in the Stalker games so much. It's slow. You know, your character movement is not just 60 miles an hour, run as fast as you can. Which, you know, that's fine. I love that. You know, I fucking love games like that, but it's nice to have some variety with that. And not have it be, you know, health regen, 2-weapon limit, etc. And honestly, I think an action or Resident Evil game that takes this premise and just goes all out with it and makes a full game like Not a Hero, I would actually really like to see that. If that's the direction they take RE8, I would not mind. I mean, 7 was nice, and personally, I don't think they nailed their objective of just making RE1 first person. I don't think they really nailed that, but, you know, I digress. Not reviewing that game. And, overall, presentation is solid. Voice acting is pretty decent. It's pretty good in RE7, it's pretty good here. Sound design's alright. Soundtrack's kinda there. It didn't bother me, didn't really stick out to me. I mean, in Resident Evil, in Resident Evil 7, excuse me, not the series, the only really memorable song was, you know, that trailer Go Tell Aunt Rhody remix, which, it's the horror movie thing of, hey, let's take old folk song, excuse me. I'm mentally handicapped, please be patient. It's take that old folk song and have obvious white girl sing it, and have her sing it slow, make it creepy. You see it in trailers all the time. Like Dead Space had it. Alien Covenant had it pretty recently. I don't know, it's a kind of weird trailer cliche, but it was pretty decent. So let's get to what I didn't like. Yeah, okay, this is free. This is free because if it wasn't, it would be completely inexcusable. This is really blatantly cut content. And I know it's kind of weird to say that because it's more than a year after... no, not more than a year. It's almost a year. I think like a month, actually. So it's 11 months after Resident Evil 7 launched, and to call this cut content from a game like that might sound absurd. But I think, personally, you know, tinfoil hat time, I think Resident Evil 7 was rushed. I think that game was really pushed out the door as fast as it possibly could when it was. Because, you know, Resident Evil games, you know, beyond, of course, RE1, they always had really entertaining bonus content. Like in Resident Evil 2, you had a fourth survivor. You had, you know, additional characters like Tofu. You had the AB scenario set up with Leona Claire. So, and RE3, you got the Mercenaries. And Mercenaries is a staple up until 7. 7 doesn't have that. So, I don't know. The fact that most of the entertaining cut content, like 21, Jack's birthday, the basement survival thing where he plays Clancy, who got super fucked, rest in peace Clancy. I don't know. That feels like the kind of content that would have been in the vanilla game had this not been made by Capcom of the, you know, late 2000s. Which, you know, they showed that Street Fighter V, they still do this kind of shit. They're never going to learn their lesson. This is the gamble you're going to take when you buy a Capcom game. Will it be milked? Yeah, I will. So, the fact that Not Hero is free is nice, but this clearly was supposed to be the Resident Evil 7 version of Fourth Survivor. And let's get to another issue. There's nothing really new here. If you went into this expecting new, expecting something to really shock you, or maybe even set up RE8, you're not really gonna get it. You're gonna get some remixes of old enemies. The best comparison I can make is like, do you consider the Resident Evil 3 hunters that are all falling apart and shitty to kind of be a new hunter, a brand new enemy? If not, then you're not gonna enjoy the new enemies and Not a Hero. They're almost a palette swap version, kind of mixed with their generator from Resident Evil 4. But it's same visual design, so if you got tired of that by the end of RE7 like I did, you're not gonna be that big of a fan of this. And the mines visually, I mean, they do some stuff visually to keep it interesting. The bit where it's this thick mold smog is actually kind of interesting. It's still visually very redundant. I've been to this area. I know what the mines are like. There's nothing really here that makes you feel like, yeah, this is brand new. Like, even the big thing at the end just feels like the boat section. The little lab section, which, you know, spoilers, there's a little lab section in a Resident Evil game, shocking. The lab, you have the little room in the center, it's like a challenge room. It all feels really similar to things we have already seen in RE7, the base game. That is going to turn some people off. I know it will. It kind of turns me off, let me be perfectly frank. You know, year out, you kind of expect maybe some new content, but I don't know, it feels mostly like a remix of what we had before. But it's free. Yeah, can't complain. So this is one for the RE lore fanatics. There's no real story expansion to this. The only detail you get is kind of more into who Lucas Baker was working for, which, did anyone really want to know that? Did anyone want to know that unless we were going to get, some more reasons to care beyond, hey, look, it's this character we introduced in this one game? I don't know, like, this is the ultimate kind of epilogue, and why, again, it feels like this should have been in the base game. I wouldn't have this problem if it was just wrapping up that loose plot line. But, I digress. If you're looking for, like, references and nods, you'll get some stuff here and there, but it's not the place for that. There's apparently some new company called the Connections. The Connections, we'll see if it's actually going to be paid off in RE8. We'll see if it's just going to be another version of, like, the Illuminati family from Resident Evil 6. Who knows at this point. But, yeah. Really, there's little tackling this to old games beyond Umbrella and Chris Redfield. And the Umbrella reveal was really weak. Like, come on, man. You make a big tease out of Umbrella being there. It's nothing. It is so nothing. It's silly. I don't know. That feels like a sequel bait, and the sequel we got was like a 1-hour DLC expansion that gives you the answer. It's really weak. If you think that was going to be an interesting plot detail, it's not. I'm very sorry to spoil that, but not much comes of it. I played on the PC. I played it windowed, just because the recording was being difficult that day. Some performance dips I had here and there. Frame rate drops, some lag. That was about it. RE7 was a surprisingly decent PC port, and maybe this is the only result of me playing windowed, because full screen I didn't really have these issues in the main game. And maybe it's a result of recording at the same time. Who knows? Resident Evil 7, though, if maybe Not a Hero has frame rate dips because it's a much more action-heavy experience than the main game. I don't know. So, yeah, that kind of just wraps up my thoughts on Not a Hero. Again, if you like these kind of unscripted thoughts on new releases, I can put more of them out. And if you want to see what more I do, hit the subscribe button and check out my written reviews if you want some content that's not complete trash. And yeah, see you later.